Hi team, welcome to my how to sketch a dice tutorial. We're going to get into it. We're going to start drawing a dice very soon, but before we do that we have to do a couple of housekeeping things. We have to look at why we're drawing a dice. The main reason I choose it is that it's generally a task I give to students. I can give them the dice. It's very tactile, they can pick it up, they can move it around, they can have a look at the sides, interpret it, make mistakes, get learnings out of what they do, and everybody sort of knows what a dice is. The thing is that there's a couple of rules about a dice that not everybody knows about, so we'll try and cover off on those. If you have a look at the next PowerPoint, the rules of a dice. So each opposite face must add up to 7. So if you've got a 1 on one side of a dice, the opposite side must be a 6. If you've got a 2, the opposite side must be a 5, and such forth. So every side adds up to, well, every side plus its opposite always adds up to 7. Another thing about dice is dice can be left-handed or right-handed. I bet you never knew that one either. You can look it up on Wikipedia, it is actually a thing, but it's all about the axes. If you've got a 1, 2, 3 on a dice, if that 1, 2, 3 goes clockwise or anti-clockwise around a point on the dice, on an axis, it determines whether it's clockwise or anti-clockwise. Probably the best way to have a look at this, guys, if you just have a look at the next PowerPoint. So here we've got a clockwise left-handed dice. So we've got the 1, 2, 3. It's going around clockwise. If we look at this dice on the other side, it's sketched a little differently. So it's got the 1, 2, 3, and it's rotating counterclockwise. So what does that really mean at the end of the day? Probably not a great hill of beans, guys, because the dice still performs. But when we're drawing, it's always good to know what we're drawing and draw to the nth degree. It's little bits of detail that we've got to learn to capture if we're going to become proper draftspeople. So there it is, guys. I'll hand over to my other self that's pre-recorded the rest of the video, and I'll leave you to it. Catch you guys. Okay team, we're going to make a start drawing the dice. I've already got a few pictures open, so I've got my 2 dice here, left and right-handed dice. I've made them so that they flow around. Well, I can move them around and they pivot on these corners here or on that axis. And they're basically the same thing over the side. And you'll notice about these guys, I'll just straighten that up a little bit. So 1, 2, 3, that's going anti-clockwise. 1, 2, 3, this one is going clockwise. So there's 2 different types of dice when you set them up. Anyway, we've also got a drawing here as well. So this is the drawing that we're going to be using to draw our dice. It's going to be 20mm by 20mm. And this is in 3rd angle projection. So what that basically means is that this picture is like a cardboard box and it's been opened up and laid flat on the page. So the 6 here would be on this side here. The 1 would be on this side of the dice. And if you have a look up here, you'll see that we've got the 2 here. On the left-hand side, we've got the 6, the same as that one there. Then on the other side of that 6, it has to be the 1. So the opposite side of 6 is 1, makes 7. It's the same with 4 and 3, makes 7, and 2 and 5. So they're opposites. So without any further ado, guys, we'll actually start looking to draw our dice. So File, New, create new from templates. I'm already opened up on the metric here. So standard millimeter IPT, that's the one we want. So we should be pretty good at drawing at this stage. So let's start off with a 2D sketch. I'm going to select the XY plane, just out of habit. And to start off, I think I'm going to draw just a rectangle. Now I've already selected it on 2 point and 1 point in the center. So there we go, snap to the center, open him up. And I want it 20mm, so I just type in 20mm, then I go up to here, left click, 20mm, and there I'm done. That's our 20 by 20 square, complete. It's already locked in, it's also, it's got all its restraints, it's the dark color, so that's good. Let's just finish the sketch. Now we can extrude this. Without any surprise, it'll be 20mm extrude, but I just don't want a standard extrude like this one that's selected by default. I'd like to extrude it both sides of the plane. Now, the reasons for this will become apparent when we get a little bit further down the track. So 20, and this one here. So it's a symmetric extrude. Well, 200. 20, and so 10 mil out that side of the plane, 10 mil out that side of the plane. So, okay. And that's the fundamental of our dice, guys, a square box. Okay, guys, so let's have a look. We've got our picture of our dice here, so we might as well start with drawing the two dots. So, back to our dice, part 3. Doesn't really matter which one we call the front, but I'm going to call it, well, okay, that's the front there. We'll call that the front. But we're going to do a 2D sketch on the front of that. So let's select 2D, and then we select that face. So now we're going to draw on here, on this plane of this entity. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got to get a 2, basically a dot there and a dot here. And to do that, I'm going to draw a square inside the rectangle. Now, I'm probably going to do that for everything except the 1, because that square is sort of like an integral part. But I'm not just going to draw a normal line, I'm going to draw a construction line, which is important. So let's have a crack at that. So when it comes to rectangle, well, rectangle, but we're going to draw a square, it should still be on the 2 point. And then I'm going to select up here. This is construction. Change your selected geometry to construction geometry. The thing about construction geometry is it doesn't interfere with any of your extrudes. It's only there for our benefit, and we can also hang some different things on it, some different sketches. We can attach the parts of it, but when it comes to extruding, it just doesn't get in the road and doesn't cause any problem. So if this is a 20 by 20, let's make our square 10. So 10 in there, then I'll move down to here, click, 10. And there we've got a 10 by 10 square. And this is going to be perfect to anchor our 2 on. So let's go back to our drawing, just to be sure. So top right, bottom left. We haven't got any sketch drawings here for this, but it's actually 4mm. Luckily I've done that previously. So let's go select circle. Now the trick here is that I've actually got construction lines still selected. Try to remember to turn it off. You're going to see me make this mistake a couple of times. Good that I picked it up first time. Okay, so circle. And I've forgotten which side. So top right. And click. And to drag the circle out, I just have to type 4. So hit 4 on the keyboard, enter, and there we go. We're done. It's locked onto that corner. Same down this corner. In there, 4, and we're done again. So that's it. That's our 2 on the dice. So we can finish sketch. We can actually extrude it now. It'd probably be a good time to extrude it. So let's go extrude, and we click in here, and we click in here. Now I might just move this square. I'm going to hold down the shift key and the mouse wheel, move it sideways, and that's definitely not what we want. We want to go in. So we've got these things here. We'll go in, and we only want to go in 2 mil. So let's just delete that, change that down to 2. Okay. And there we go. It's a bit of a basic thing, but there's our 2 on the dice. Right, guys, here we go. Moving over to the next one. And we're going to do the 6. So the 6 is going to go on this side. Put our square in. So start sketch. 2D sketch, 2D. Select the face. Again, construction line, rectangle, snap to the center. A little bit hard to see, but 10, enter. And I'm going to have to draw this other dimension in. Sometimes that happens. So there to there, 10, 10. Right, there we go. Turn off construction line, circle, want to start speeding this up a little bit. We'll get these 3 corner ones or these 4 corner ones done. Right guys, when it comes to drawing these center circles, there is a little snap on the center of this line. It's very hard to see, but if you see me go down this line, it's very dull, then it becomes bright, right there. So if I snap there, oops, 4, and we've got it locked onto the center part of that line. So that's a handy thing for a center snap. If we didn't have that center snap, we'd probably just have to draw a construction line there, but it just saves us time. So there we go. We've got our 6 done, same as before. Finish sketch. And let's hit extrude. When you hit extrude, just be careful that you don't hit onto these numbers here. Otherwise it starts putting a function in the extrude. I've had that happen a few times now. Sometimes you just have to back out of it and change a few things. Right, so that's come out 2 mil. We want to go inward 2 mil. Okay. Right, so there we've got our 2 faces done there. So let's have a look back to the drawing. We'll also do the 1 now, so that'll be the opposite of the 6. One's quite simple to draw, so it'll be on this face here, 2D sketch. We've got our center point here of the plane, so we're going to be able to snap onto that. And that's the thing I was talking about earlier, that if we set this geometry up correctly, we can always snap to the center, which is always handy. So again, 4, enter, finish sketch, extrude, inwards 2, okay. So now we're getting a bit of a march on. So I've got our 6, 2, 1. Let's have a look at our drawing. So now we've got a 5 over this side. So next to the 1. So that'll be over on this face here. On the back, so to speak. Right, just straighten it up. And again, 2D sketch. Construction, square, snap to the center. Now, I wonder if it's going to let me 10, and then click on here, 10. There we go. Learn something new every day. So if we're going to do the 5, very simple. We're just going to have to snap onto all these points here. So circle, 4, enter, and of course, I forgot to deselect that. So circle, 4, 4, 4, 4, and this one, just hit escape, select. I might just select it and turn it off. I was going to delete it and redraw it, but there we go. So there's our 5. So again, finish sketch. Just draw it on an angle a bit, or move it on an angle, and extrude. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Innies instead of outies. Okay. Right, so now we're getting pretty close. Now we've just got to do the top and the bottom. So let's go back to our drawing. So on the top, it's going to be a 4. Bottom's going to be a 3. So we'll do the 4 first of all. So on the top, follows the top of our diagram there. So again, 2D sketch. And rectangle. Construction. 10. Click that one, 10. Finish. That's our 4 done. Extrude. Innies. Excellent. Okay. So the last thing we've got to do is put the 3 on the bottom. So the 3 will be on the bottom, and first one will be top left going down to bottom right. On from the 2, roll around, and it's all getting a little bit repetitive now, so let's just fly through it. Start sketch. Get our rectangle, or square really. Snap, 10, don't hit enter, just go up, then snap onto that one, 10, great. And of course, I'm getting in a bit of a hurry, I have to turn that into construction line. So there we go. Right, let's get our circles done. So as per our drawing, start from top left, snap, 4, and there we go. Finish the sketch. Get our extrudes happening. 1, 2, 3, 2 millimeters. Make the minis. We can either select there or there. Okay. There we have it, guys. There's the fundamentals of our dice. Right, team. Next thing we're going to do is grab this dice and just make it a little bit prettier. We want to make it look good. Like all things in CAD, when you first draw them, all these edges are very sharp. It doesn't look very realistic. We don't have sharp edges like this in nature. Well, maybe some minerals do, but even then, probably not as sharp and aggressive as this. So we want to make our dice look a little bit realistic. First thing I want to do is do some fillets. So if we'll start on the 2 face, front, round, there we go. Let's hit fillet, and it's got a 2 millimeter fillet, comes up as the standard. Actually, the 2 millimeter fillet mightn't be too bad. There's our first mistake. You got to make sure you click on the right place. I'll hit cancel, fillet, and I might just turn it over a little second. We've got to get it on the inside, not on the outside. So if I select the inside there, select the inside here, apply. Now guys, we could probably go around the whole shooting match and put all the fillets in, but then all the fillets are attached. If you get all the way around to the last one and then make a mistake, you have to do it all again. So just as a thing, I just tend to do it a face at a time. So let's keep it in there, and done, 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 apply. So guys, this will give you good skills working on your fillets. Nearly missed that one. Apply. Right, have I got any left? That's starting to look good. We've got most of them. So there we go. Cancel. Our dice are starting to come along indeed. Right team, this next phase is basic rendering. So what are we going to make our dice out of? If we have a look on this page, just straight up, we've got the material type, and it's currently generic, sorry. If we hit the drop down box, now just sometimes you've got to be careful. If you hit the face, hit the drop down box, it just comes up with this list, whether you want to go to the Inventor material library or the Autodesk material library. So just hit escape, escape, hit generic again, and we'll get materials. Now I'm going to go with ABS plastic. So now our model is made out of ABS plastic in a virtual world. So later on, we'll actually have a look and see what the weight of ABS plastic is. We can also run tests on it and all sorts of things. So it's the first part of basic rendering. So we've got a material, it's ABS. Now Here we've got our surface finish. So for our surface finish, probably want something a little bit more stand out. So I might have a look at the reds. Smooth red, not really what I was after. So there should be a few brighter, here we go, red. So that is red. So that's probably more like a plastic would really look. So there we go. Our dice is starting to take some shape. Now guys, we're going to do just a couple of more fillets around the place just to clean this dice up a little bit. For these edges here, we're probably going to do a reasonably aggressive fillet. So let's select fillet. I've got 0.1 there. Again, 2 would probably be pretty close. So I've selected 2. Now I'm going to select all these outside lines. Trick is, guys, to make sure you get all of them and don't get anything that you don't want. Okay, let's have a look at that. We've got everything. Apply. So let's have a look at that. Starting to get a little bit more realistic. Now these little lines here actually look a bit problematic, but we can switch to a view that will get rid of those a little bit later on. Now there's only one other sharp edge that I really want to take away, and that's these edges here around the dots of the dice. So again, we might do them by face. Now, don't really want to take away too much, just a little. So I'm going to say 0.2 at this stage. So let's go click, 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 and have a look. Apply. So if I have a look at the dice, yeah, I'm starting to think that they're a little bit big. I might even change that to 0.1, which I can still do at this stage. Enter. Cancel. So yeah, that's just made that a little bit smaller. Basically just taking the edge off, so to speak. So let's go again. Fillet. 0.1. Apply. 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 Not really doing this in any particular order. It's all pretty random. Right. Let's have a look. That's looking good. And there we go. Right guys, for our next trick with this vise, let's try and change the scene a little bit. So we've got a nice red color. Going to start changing the view. So come up the top to the taskbar here, have a look at view. And we've got a couple of different types of views. We've got the visual style. So shaded with edges is a good style for when you really just want to draw things. You get to see all the detail. If we go to realistic, now have a look at that. In the realistic mode, it's taken away all those edges. You can see them when you highlight, but they're all taken away now. So we're starting to get something that is rendered to look realistic as a dice. And that's pretty damn good. Pretty reflective and looking great. There's a few other little things we can do. We can give it a bit of a tweak with the orthographic. So we can give it perspective view. Perspective, it just makes it look a little bit more realistic. Some of you mightn't even be able to pick it, but if you have a look when we take it back, orthographic is very precise. It looks exactly, well, it's drawn exactly how it would look in the real world. Well, it's how it would be dimensioned in the real world. The dimensions are true, where perspective gives it a little bit of depth. So perspective always looks a little bit better. So let's have a look at that. That looks fantastic. We can probably turn ray tracing on. Now be careful with ray tracing. Sometimes it can be a little bit painful and drop everything out. So this is low quality ray tracing. Now once you move your object around, it'll start generating again. Doesn't take too long with the ray tracing, so it's on low. So if I put this on draft, it'll take a little bit longer to process through, and I'll get a better image. Now if I put it on high quality, it's going to take a long time, probably going to take about 5 minutes, and then it only takes a second to shake it and it's all gone. So I might just turn off ray tracing, turn it to low, ray tracing, disabled, and there we have it, guys. So that's our dice. It's been rendered, and this part of our course is done. So give yourself a hand. You've rendered something, you've made it look reasonable. Well done, team. And follow on to the next tutorial where we're actually going to put this into the drawing, like this one here. So some good learnings in there. So cheers for now, guys. Bye.